Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. In today's video I'm going to take a look at the brand new menu book, which is the Jimny Cup, which is new to GT7 with update 1.42. Through this I'll give you a quick rundown on all the events, what you can expect, and a little guide if I kind of need to, but to be totally honest you shouldn't really need a guide at all for these, but it will be a basic rundown of everything you can expect. Now, as the title suggests, this is for the brand new Suzuki Jimny, which obviously came alongside update 1.42 this morning. In terms of the events, we've got some snow racing, some dirt racing, and some on-tarmac racing. So a nice mix of events, to be honest, and much, I guess, more diverse than what we usually do see. So with the menu book active, we now need to go ahead and purchase a Suzuki Jimny. This is a new car, like I mentioned, new to 1.42. It'll cost you 18,000 credits, so literally next to nothing. Now, I've bought multiple of these and I thought I'd kind of give multiple ones a shot, but to be totally honest, one thing I have noticed is actually getting the difficulty right. I will run all of these events on the hardest difficulty. However, finding that nice balance between actually being fair and fun or being very overpowered is, almost impossible. So the first event we've got here is actually a layout they've never taken advantage of before, or at least for the longest time. This is Willow Springs Horse Thief Mile, the smallest of the Willow Springs layouts. As you can see, all cars are going to be the Suzuki Jimnys, and this is going to act as the, I guess, tarmac race for the Suzuki Jimnys. Again, very much a globe-trotting, different surface type of menu book, which I really do like. However, it does feel on the very, very short side. So in terms of the Jimny that I'm actually going to be using for all three of these races, I went for a fully upgraded one. However, for the tarmac event, I did keep the original compound of tyres on the vehicle. This makes it just a bit more fun to drive. I feel like putting very grippy tyres just wouldn't necessarily be as enjoyable when driving the Jimny. So I've kept the comfort mediums, at least for this run. However, for the other two, it's very much a set tyre compound in the form of dirt and snow. Again, if you just use a standard Jimny on the harder difficulties, the rest of the grid will pretty much just disappear. It's going to be very awkward to get a nice balance, and that's definitely one of the downsides of this menu book. I feel like a set PP rating would have kept it much more competitive, although the overall performance points rating on this vehicle is going to remain relatively low throughout. In terms of the AI themselves though, they're going to basically just be a rolling roadblock, at least on the tarmac events. I noticed that because it is so narrow on the Horse Thief Mile, and the fact that these cars seem to take up much more room than you'd actually expect, overtaking is all about just kind of picking them off one by one. So for this event, again, just work your way through the grid as easy as possible. Eventually I did end up pulling out a bit of a gap on the final lap and just decided to start drifting around in my Jimny, and I managed to get this event done in around about 4 minutes or so. Overall, not a very long event at all. However, this is going to be the longest event of the three, which is rather quite disappointing. Again, I just feel like, kind of doing a one-make series and making them so short isn't very good at all. So 4:minute 25 for the completion time, fastest lap of a 1:minute 6.540, which was set on my final lap while still drifting about and kind of just messing around with the Jimny for my first official run with it. Now, in terms of the payout for this event, it's not going to get much better either. Although it is a relatively short event, you are going to be looking at very minimal in terms of the overall payout. So as you can see here, with a clean race bonus, we're going to be taking away 60k, and that is obviously going to be the 50% bonus on top. So 45k at standard, 60k with the bonus, 4.2 miles total, and that is going to give us stamp number 1 for Willow Springs International Raceway, meaning that we still have 2 more events to tackle. Now, in terms of this sort of globe-trotting feeling, should I say, with the events, we're now going to head out to a dirt event at Sardinia Windmills reverse layout. So you will need a set of dirt tyres for this one. In terms of the event itself, it's on dirt, which, to be totally honest, isn't necessarily a good thing. considering the dirt physics in GT7 are pretty much notorious for being terrible, and that's going to be no different here. At least in the snow, with the layout that we do have with Lake Louise, it does feel much better off-road than what you'll probably find here. You'll see a lot of really inconsistent AI behavior. Sometimes they may just overshoot it, sometimes they may not. You know, sometimes you'll find that you may overshoot it and sometimes you may not. It's really quite bizarre how the dirt physics work, and to be totally honest, it doesn't necessarily make for great racing. If I had to have one single change put into GT7, at least for me personally, it would be just making the dirt physics a little bit better and a little bit more consistent overall. Although the game's had physics updates multiple times, they're still absolutely terrible, with them being the weakest part of GT7 entirely. I would certainly say this is the easiest event of the bunch. Like I said, the AI very inconsistent on the dirt, meaning that they're either going to be extremely slow or possibly even too quick, depending on your kind of upgrades that you're going to be running on your Jimny. In terms of the event, it is also perhaps the shortest of the bunch at 2 full laps, and that's your bunch. So yeah, rather quite disappointing on both length and really location. 3 minutes 5 seconds, 0.831 for a full completion time, 14 seconds ahead come the end over that 2-lap sprint, with a fastest lap of a 1 minute 30.873 on obviously my final lap, which was lap 2. Again, in terms of the payout, don't hold your breath for anything too big, but because of the short event, I can't necessarily complain for at least a bit of a credit boost. So by the time we're finished with event number 2, you're going to be looking at 45,000 credits with that clean race bonus on, obviously 50% for that. So again, you're going to be looking at a little bit less if you do end up with a few bumps and scrapes. In terms of my overall mileage, another 4.3 miles added with that event. So again, relatively short overall, and that is going to give us stamp number 2 for Sardinia Windmills Reverse, leaving just one single race left in the Suzuki Jimny Cup. So we've had a tarmac race, we've had a dirt race, and obviously that is just going to leave us with one sole remaining race on a completely other mixed surface. This time we're going to be heading over to Lake Louise, the latest track to GT7, released alongside update 1.40. This is an entirely snow layout, obviously included the snow tyres as well coming alongside this track. So ensure that you're going to go ahead and equip some snow tyres, because, well, if you don't, you're not going to be running this event at all. You just won't outright be allowed to actually go ahead and enter. So in terms of the event itself, I again find this very, very easy. I would once again go ahead and say that the overall just difficult balance is very, very off. Again, if you don't run something with at least a few upgrades on, they're just going to absolutely pull away from you on the highest difficulty. And if you go for, I guess, my strategy, which is fully upgraded and running the tyres that kind of keep in line with the car, then, you know, you're going to basically run away with it. This is on perhaps the weakest layout of Lake Louise. It's going to be the reverse version of the short circuit. For me, I absolutely prefer the oval version, or the tri-oval, or the full layout. Again, it's going to be a 3-lap sprint, so it's going to be a relatively short overall event. And again, the AI proving that they're just a little bit inconsistent on these mixed surfaces. Again, you may sometimes see them in the barrier, or sometimes they may be extremely strong. In terms of this event though, I did manage to pull out the biggest gap of the bunch, pulling out around about 19 seconds come the end of this event. Again, a very short event, and you shouldn't really have any trouble beating this one. So in terms of the overall time for this one, a little bit longer this time at 3 minutes 28 seconds, 0.201. Fastest lap of a 1 minute 8.163. So again, a very, very short event, meaning that in terms of your overall time, you're looking at around about 10 minutes completion time for the Jimny Cup, which just really isn't too great. This one does have a better payout, and I would say it's very, very fair in terms of the overall payout. 52,500 credits with that 50% bonus. Another 5 mile added onto the overall counter, meaning that around total, without any restarts, you're looking at around about 13 miles for the entirety of the Jimny Cup menu book. And obviously for that, we're going to receive our third and final tick or stamp for this menu book, meaning that we are now going to go ahead and and pick up our reward. So once you've completed it, you'll be told to go back to the cafe, and basically you will be told that he's got a reward for you. And the reward is terrible. It's a 4-star roulette ticket reward. However, we're still going to spin it and see what we go ahead and get. If it does go for the typical top left, we would have got around about 500,000 credits, which would have been nice. However, I ended up with a Lamborghini invite, which I've basically had all the invite cars since around about April or May of 2022. So very much a pointless reward for me. So that's it. That is the Jimny Cup done and dusted. I thought I'd take a bit of a deep dive into the overall, I guess, atmosphere of this playlist, check out some of the events, do a quick guide for it if needed, and kind of show you what to expect from this one. I'll end up compiling this one with the other 2 events later on for a full event guide for update 1.42, as there is 2 other events in the form of some VGT trophy events. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.